Hi, how are you?
Hi, Kyle Williams with NetSuite.
Kyle Wendell Godwin, nice to meet you.
Here for a 5 o'clock appointment.
You're perfectly on time. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me in today. Is it okay if I set my things down?
Absolutely. Sit down, make yourself comfortable. This is a big desk, so just kind of spread out however you need.
Oh, I certainly appreciate it. The way I actually found out about Global Amusement Ride, I was at Universal Studios in Orlando with my 74-year-old grandmother, and she wanted to go on the Hulk. And I had no idea that on the Hulk it goes from 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds on the way up.
That's scary for a 74-year-old grandmother.
And we got off, and she looked over at me like this. I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to take her to the hospital. She said, let's go again.
Wow.
So from there I decided to find out who made the Hulk and where did it come from. And from there it led me to Global Amusement Ride and all the history you guys have. I was very impressed. And how do you guys come up with those designs?
I don't know. We have some very good engineers. Yeah, some scream therapists, I think, help with that.
Well, there you go. They do a good job, that's for sure. And, I saw you guys have been around since 1906 when Orlando was just a swamp and 6 gators. And
yeah, it's been a long time. A long tradition and a heritage that we're very proud of.
And how have you been able to maintain that heritage for so long?
Well, I wish I could say I was a part of all that, but I can't because the company's so old. But it's just, I think quality products, our name brand recognition in the market, and we're being reliable.
Well, you've definitely connected yourself with a great organization.
Thank you.
Well, before we get started today, Mr. Godwin, I just want to ask you a few questions about Global Amusement Rides, make sure I really understand your part of the business.
Sure.
And then talk about NetSuite for a couple minutes. And if it looks like something that might fit, then we probably talk about the next step. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
You mind if I take a few notes?
No, absolutely. I'm going to take notes also.
Okay, sure. Now, when it comes to your business, how's your buying process decided?
You mean regarding this type of technology?
Yeah. What's your buying process?
Well, the various levels of management has approval and authorization for spend up to certain dollar parameters. So. Okay. Depending on the area of the technology or the investment and the total cost, then I could possibly sign off on that as a national sales manager. If it was over my authority, then I'd have to go to the COO for approval.
Okay, great. Is there anyone you'd like to include in on this meeting?
I thought about that today before you came in, and I think probably to start with, the two of us will be fine. There may be some other people that I choose to bring in at a later point, but right now I think this would be good for both of us to explore a little bit.
Okay, great. That sounds good. I wanted to ask you, you're the national sales manager,
right? And
I just wanted to confirm my research, make sure I did my homework right, and if I didn't get anything,
make sure you clarify that for you.
So you're the national sales manager, and you have, what I was able to find is you have 2 regional sales managers,
right?
And then there's 30 salespeople on the field.
Yeah, there's actually 6 district sales managers.
6 district sales managers.
Yeah, there's 2 regional sales managers, then there's 2 RSMs, 6 district managers, and then underneath that we have our 30 sales associates. And some of these people have very large total assignments. There'll be 30.
Okay.
And those 30 have different assignments, and some of them different countries and all that. So not all of the RSM or the district managers have the same number of direct reports, but it ranges from 4 to 6. But that's how we get the 30. That's pretty much the structure.
So you have 2 direct reports, and then there's 38 people in the sales for global. Okay.
Yes, that would make sense.
Okay, and then I understand there's 1 manufacturing plant in Orlando that's distributing it to all over the world.
Right. Yeah, we make a couple of product lines, and then we subcontract some of the others.
Okay, great. I wanted to ask you something that with several of my clients that about the same size as Global is, I like to ask, what is it that really keeps you up at night? What is it that worries you about your business?
Well, probably the thing that kept me up last night would be the amount of feedback I'm getting from the field in direct relation to the amount of paperwork and the time-consuming nature of our reporting processes. That's one critical thing. And then we're losing deals and losing business because of our inefficient processes to keep track of some of the details of our business and some of the things that, because we're doing it in paper and sticky notes and through day timers and planners, we're losing that information. It's not getting properly communicated, and then thus we don't serve the customer the way we should, and we have issues with customer service. We've lost deals because of that. So those 2 things are kind of tied together, but those would be the things that keep me up recently anyway.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? You said deals are being lost because the paperwork's falling through the cracks. How often is that happening?
Well, probably more than I'm aware of, because those are things that the managers probably don't share with me because that's bad news. But excuse me.
So sorry.
excuse me just a second, Kyle. Let me take this and be right back.
Okay, sure.
Excuse me. I apologize about that very much. I'm sorry. We had kind of an HR issue that we had to deal with.
Oh, sure.
And then I thought about your comment about, is there anyone else that should maybe see this? So I
Yeah.
thought, well, these two people are here. They're part of our team.
Perfect.
So Lindsay is our Vice President of
Hi,
Marketing,
Lindsay. Nice
and
to meet
Eric
you.
is our Vice President of
Hey,
Sales.
Eric, nice to
So
meet you.
I thought, well, while they're here, maybe they should see some of this to kind of help me kind of go through the material with you. The unfortunate thing is that this issue with personnel is going to cause us to have to leave here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
We're going to have
that's
to
fine.
kind of wrap up this and get to the point of it in 10 minutes, and then we will get to our business on the outside. So.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
Make sure we'll take advantage
Okay.
of that time. And Lindsay and Eric, just to catch you up on what we're talking about, I'm with NetSuite. It's an online business integration tool. Allows you to bring all these different pieces. You're talking about some things falling through the cracks. Make sure we got it in all one place. So I was just talking with Mr. Godwin about the paperwork, how that's starting to slow us down because we're spread all over the place, and making sure we're not losing any deals because that paperwork's falling through the cracks. I just want to find out from you as well as what is it that is really important to you, and I was just asking Mr. Godwin, what is it that really worries you when you're managing your piece of the business?
I think my biggest concern about even talking about a system like NetSuite is our sales reps don't even have laptops out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we want to make sure it's something they can use wherever they are as well.
Mhm.
Okay, well, if it's okay, I'd like to come back to that during the presentation, but that is certainly a good point, and make sure we cover that. Is there anything you really hope that you're talking about, the PR issue, anything that maybe I can help out with?
Yeah, I think those two things that we've discussed briefly is pretty much, that's the crux of the problem that we're dealing with.
Okay.
So we can probably focus on those for right now.
Okay, and how much of those deals, you said, we were just talking about, how often would you say that happens?
Even if it happened once a quarter, it could be, detrimental to our organization, because we're talking about some of these, $500,000 roller coasters and $1 million roller coasters. So if you lose service and lose a large deal, or even if it's a refurbished, you're still talking hundreds of thousands.
Right.
So if it happens one time, it's too much.
Okay, so we got hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. We
Absolutely.
want to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks.
Yep.
Everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely.
So, if it's okay, I'd like to do something that it's a little bit cheesy, but it's something I've used with several of my clients to help keep a strategic view on what it is that NetSuite can actually do. So I brought him with me today. I brought a puzzle, and the puzzle
Okay.
really it represents what's at the heart of NetSuite, which is integrating these different things within your business. So I'm just going to jot down what we mentioned and see if we can't see how that might fit in with your business.
Okay.
So first we talked about the paperwork. We want to see if there's a way to streamline that, maybe make it a little bit more efficient. So streamlining the process. So say streamline. And then also we want to stop losing deals. We want to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. So would it be fair to say that would be keeping on top of the management of the paperwork and of the salespeople, so what we're actually doing, some management. Now, is there anything else that would be important for me to know for this meeting today?
No, other than it just all kind of ties into overall efficiency. We're just not very efficient in the field because of our paper processes, and the culture that we have is what really bogs us down. I mean, there's just people that just do not want to adapt to change. So any solution and the integration, the training, the ramp up of that is going to be a huge challenge for us. So if you can help us with that, then we probably have something to talk about. But
so let's talk about efficiency and adoption of the product. So we'll talk about efficiency and the adoption. And what I'll ask you to do, and you guys can team up on this, is help me to prioritize this. So what's really important here, and make sure we have that in the right order. If you can do that for me.
What all kind of dovetails in together. I mean, for my level, management of the technical viewing of the solutions and the pipeline is important to me. Adoption is going to be a challenge. And streamline and efficiency are all part of the same thing. So I guess what you're wanting us to do is build a puzzle. I don't think I've ever done this before, so I would definitely say this is.
Wow, that was pretty quick. You
got
got ahead of me a little bit there.
Is that what you were trying to do?
Well, hey, we're pretty close. We're almost there, right? Okay, well, let's talk about first with the management of the paperwork. Now, we talked a little bit earlier, NetSuite is online. So that means instead of having the paperwork, you're talking about everyone's doing their own individual paperwork, turning it into their manager, goes to the next manager, the next manager. Sometimes something's falling through the cracks. With NetSuite, it's all online, and I think the best way to do this is really to show you what it looks like. And,
okay.
Lindsay, if you could do me a favor here, and go ahead and click on customers for me, right there. And I'll flip it around so everybody can see here. So, all right. And this is going to bring up the customer screen, and this is anytime someone talks to a new customer, a lead, it all goes in the same place. So we're all looking at the same thing. And what happens is that information stays in the system, and anyone can access it at any time. It's all real time since it's online. So you don't have to wait for that report to come in, and your managers don't have to spend that time developing those reports.
Right.
You can just get that information instantly.
Well, Kyle, let me ask you this, because
Sure.
this is one of my parts of my nightmare. I've got 30 sales reps and multiple managers in the field that have all this information in raw form.
Right.
How do I get that into this tool and this technology to take advantage of it? Because I can see the benefit of having it in there,
Right.
but it's not in there today. So, I mean, and again, because of our resistance to change and our kind of old school culture,
Right.
number one, how are we going to get that in there? And number two, if I can't get people to write it down and communicate it in paper, what makes me think that I'm going to be able to communicate that through technology?
Okay.
It's still an issue of they're not doing it.
So if I understand correctly, there's a little bit of a concern of similar to the adoption of the product. How are we going to make that transition from paper into the digital world? And that's an excellent point. And NetSuite really makes this extremely easy for you, because something NetSuite does that no one else on the market does is customize it to your business.
Okay.
So what that means is some people are using paper planners, some people are using Post-its, some people have laptops. You can adapt it to each individual person, and we can help you set that up in the implementation. So you tell us what's important, you tell us your individual sales process, and we'll set NetSuite up to run exactly like that. Let me show you a little bit of how that looks like. Take you to what I call the dashboard. This is the cockpit on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
So everything these salespeople are doing is going to show up right here on your dashboard. You can keep track of it. And a little bit about that, keeping it customized to your business is it's just as easy as drag and drop. And it's exactly customized to your business. How does that sound?
If we can get there, that sounds good.
Okay, does it sound like being able to have this customized to your business, customized even down to individual salespeople and the way they work, not just the way that the software works, would help them be able to adopt the software quite a bit faster?
There's some value to that. If we can get adoption, that's going to be the challenge. Is maybe some of your other organizations, how have they been able to increase adoption and really get to the end game where they're trying to do? I mean, this looks great if we can get it there, but what's that process like, and how long does it take to transform the adapters and the laggers all into using this tool?
Well, that's great, and that's why I'm here today, is I'm here as your support. You have me 24/7. You know what, let me give you each one of you a card.
But how are you going to support California? How are you going to support New York? I mean, you're here.
Well, that's a great question. How can we get support for everybody? Part of having NetSuite is that you have access to 24/7 support with NetSuite. It's called CRM Plus. It's silver level. You pick up the phone. Anyone in your organization can do this. And also, you'll notice up here it says help. Click help, and there is a library of tutorials and videos for your salespeople to access at any time. So we can make sure that happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the functionality makes sense. I think the challenge that we have is because the reps are in the field all day, they don't have laptops.
Mm-hmm.
This means we're going to tell them they can do this at night.
Well,
and how much time will they really spend doing this at night? That's maybe a challenge for us.
okay, so we're concerned about when they're going to do it and making sure they are doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me this, do any of them have PDAs?
They have cell phones.
Okay.
Some of them resisted cell phones, but they have cell phones.
They do have cell phones.
That's all that they have. The company provided.
Okay, so you guys got them on cell phones. That's great. What kind of cell phones do they use?
Motorola.
Okay, is it the Q?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Motorola Q uses Windows Mobile. NetSuite works perfectly on Windows Mobile, so they'll have those on with them 24/7 out in the field. So you get an even more instant because you're going to get it while they're with the client as well.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Okay. Sounds good, but how do you do that on a cell phone?
Okay, well NetSuite is actually integrated with your salespeople being able to be wireless. So you can see right here, these are both Windows mobile
Mhm.
phones, just like the Motorola Q, so they're going to be able to get on into the NetSuite directly
Okay.
from their phone. And then
Okay.
they can check the full records on the computer as well.
Okay, I see.
So how's that sound?
That sounds better.
So I mean, we got management, helping them out with adoption. We're going to make sure to support them with the training. Can you see how that would help your business be quite a bit more efficient?
Mm-hmm.
And by having it all customized to your business, again, it's all streamlined. And we already put the puzzle together. You see it fits. And I told you that the heart of NetSuite's business, and you already saw the end in the middle, but that's the heart of NetSuite's business, is that piece in the middle, and that missing piece that helps you integrate all these things is NetSuite. And Eric, would you like to do the honors?
Are they gonna make me get up?
There you go. So there's the end in the middle. Now, we agreed that NetSuite's going to be able to help you manage your salespeople, help out with these processes. What I recommend is, you said there's currently 38 people in the sales organization.
Yep. And me.
Is that we get yourself as well as these 38 people, so 39 people. We get them set up with NetSuite. We get them up and running, so we can see what's going on in your business from your level all the way down up to the minute.
Mm-hmm.
How does that sound?
Sounds very interesting.
Okay. What I can do is, I can have you set up with a username and account for each one of your sales reps. I can sit down with you. We'll get them on the training. We'll get them on the phone number so that they're up and running within the next week.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is, it'll be 38 orders.